Problem solving is one of those traits that are needed in today's world. By the way, if you are planning to be out, to get job very quickly, if you want to move away from a job seeker into a job, then please solve the problems around you. This is Marketplace Media, an online platform that engages, equips, and encourages believers to say inawezekana. Please consider subscribing to this channel. Subscribe, like, and comment, and tell us where you're watching us from. By the way, we are grateful that this program is sponsored by Fresh World Computers. If you're looking for those high-end, if you're looking for repairs, if you're looking for live streaming or any electronic gadget, be it a computer, a smartwatch, a laptop, please contact Fresh World Computers on 0722-399-091. Fresh World Computers, we've got you. Again, we encourage you to hit the subscribe button. We are learning today about raising problem solving culture that lasts, because it is very important in every culture to have people, men and women, who are solving problems. Remember, we are brought into a world that is full of problems. We've said, and we'll keep on saying, that you are either in a problem or headed toward a problem, or you are simply getting out of a problem. It is impossible in this time and age to live in a moment where there are no problems. So problems will show up. And by the way, if you've not been following us, we began by talking about 10 reasons why problem solving is the most sought after skill in 2024. That is the skill that everybody is looking for in this year. Number 2, we also talked about why most people fail in problem solving. If interested, please go to our YouTube channel, Marketplace Media, and you learn more. Then we talked about the 7 prized traits of a problem solver. In other words, how do you tell yourself if you're a problem solver? Why, again, you find that in our YouTube channel. Then we talked about last week we talked about types of problem solvers, because most people solve problems differently, and it would be very interesting to learn those traits of those types of problem solvers. Then there is, today I want us to look at what you're calling raising a problem solving culture. It is very important for us to raise a culture that solves problems, and problem solving culture actually has skills like creative thinking, collaboration, learning, and improvement. In their article, Landy Cook and Alison Jenkins, in an article where they called Building a Problem Solving Culture, this is what they say. Such a culture will do several things. It will make the workers to be more motivated. It will help them to do their jobs better, and overall the job's performance will go higher, and that means market share will increase, and that means labor turnover will decrease. It simply means that the company will have more dominance. It will simply means that the profit margin will increase, and so it simply means that a problem solving culture is profitable. It is something that every organization, every CEO, every businessman needs to go for. It is something that we need to be looking forward to. And today I'll give us a hack, some of the hacks that we can follow to create such a culture. If you look at Toyota Company is a company that is known for problem solving, and it has helped this company to be on top, to sell more cars in a highly competitive automobile industry. Toyota still reads, because for them they believe completely that problem solving is mandatory, and so they give people tools. And not only do they give people, their employees, tools to solve problems, but they also create an environment in which they can be able to solve those problems. So it's time to dive in. It's time to dive in so that we can learn. But before then, please, if you're new here, please remember to subscribe to our channel, Marketplace Media. And by the way, if you're looking for live streaming services, you have a barrier, you have an event, you have an ordination, whatever it is, and you want to share it, you want to keep lasting memory, why don't you talk to Marketplace Media on 072 06 566 555. That's a number you need to call them, and they are going to offer those services to you. So remember, we are talking about problem solving. We want to talk about how we can be able to create that kind of a culture in which we can be able to solve problems. Very, very important. So let's dive in. My name is John Kimani. Now, how can we create a culture of problem solving? Number one, don't be an ostrich. Yeah, you heard it right. Don't be an ostrich. Don't become an ostrich. Very, very important. So how do you avoid that culture of being an ostrich? Now, in life we've said, and we'll keep on saying that there are a lot of problems. And Jesus actually said, in this world you face troubles. You need to get comfortable with that fact. It is not possible to have a world without problems. Problems are part of life, and some people avoid problems in the hope that they will run away, only to wake up and find those problems right there. You know, if there's anything that I've learned in life, is that if you don't solve problems, they will haunt you in life. If you don't, if you don't deal with a toothache, of course you know what's going to happen. No wonder the Swahili people said that usipoziba ufa utajenga ukuta. And so we should thank God because of problems, because all the innovations in the world were as a result of problem solving. So number one, we are saying don't be an ostrich. You know, as a leader, as a senior pastor, as the bishop, as the CEO, as an entrepreneur, as a father, as a mother, as the firstborn son, whatever position that God has placed you, don't become an ostrich. Don't bury your head, so to speak, into the sand, because this is what ostrich are known for. They are known for burying their heads into the sand. When they see fire, when they see problems, ostrich will quickly bury their heads in the sand in the hope that those problems will go away. The truth of the matter is that those problems don't go away, and ostrich end up being burned because they have buried their heads into the sand so that they don't see the problem. If you don't solve the problem, remember this fact: the problems will kill you. Now, number two, very important tip of solving problems is see the problem, hit the problem. See the problem, hit the problem. I say that again. See the problem. Okay, see the problem, hit the problem. In our language, we see the ball, hit the ball. Don't avoid the ball. It's just an explanation of what we said in tip number one. Now, when we say this, in normal circumstances, most of us never feel comfortable to talk about problems. Sometimes we would gossip, we would deny, we would pretend as if there are any problems. Now, why is this see the ball, hit the ball very important? Because as we said previously, if you don't solve the problems, then the whole world will crumble. Remember the Swahili saying, usipoziba ufa utajenga ukuta. Number two, very important, why we need to see the ball and hit the ball, because it simply helps personalizing problems. Don't see the problems as somebody's problem, as someone's vote. Don't look for culprit, kindly look for the cause. And in our own assessment, I think the biggest problem is when it comes to seeing the ball and hitting the ball. It is not about acknowledging there is a problem. Everybody would acknowledge there is a problem. Is it a church? Is it a school? Is it a business? Is it in marriage? Is it in a family? Most people will say there are problems, but it has to do with the way we message the problem, the way we admit there's a problem, the way we message, the way we arrange the words is the big problem. Because some of us would say there's a problem and it is caused by so and so. This is a problem that has been caused by our forefathers. The blaming, the finger pointing kind of messaging. And every time when we voice a problem in an accusatory manner, of course, one of the things you expect is defense and denial. And of course, you don't expect that people will come and solve the problem. Very, very important. The problem needs to be addressed in a loving way, not in an accusatory tone. You don't need to look for a culprit. We've said, please look for the cause of the problem. Okay. Number three, very, very important, avoid seeing problems in a negative manner. You need to understand that problems are gold nuggets that we have to search for. It is when we don't have problems that we have a problem. If you are not facing any problems, if you are a pastor, you are a leader in an organization, and there are no problems, then I need to tell you already you have a problem. Life was designed to have problems, and so you must start seeing problems from a positive world, a positive perspective. You need to see them and tell God, thank you that I have a problem, because the moment when you don't have a problem, you are simply out of job. Because the quickest way to solve problems, the quickest way to rise to leadership is when we solve problems. And so when the politicians were running around, they were simply and if you look at their manifesto, they were simply telling us their problems, A and B and C, and I promise I have the capacity, I have the will, I have the resources, I have the team, I just have the ideas to solve these problems. Okay, so those that were not elected were simply very poor in telling us how they are going to solve our problems, or maybe we felt that they don't have the ability to solve the problems. Now, very important when it comes to tip number 2, seeing the ball and hitting the ball, we are saying avoid shooting the messenger. Avoid shooting the messenger. If you see the ball and hit the ball, then avoid shooting the messenger. When somebody points out a problem, or when somebody says there is a problem in area A, there is a problem in marketing department, there is a problem with the PR department, there is a problem with the pulpit, there is a problem with the raw cadre employees, that kind of an employee, that kind of a person who shouts the problem, who brings the bad news, we do not need to shoot the problem. We do not need to see them as the devil's agent and who have come to torment us. If possible, we need to appreciate them, we need to sit with them, we need to take notes, we need to ask them, what are the causes of this problem? How long has this problem been? And what do you suggest would be the solutions? Because we have always believed is that anybody who sees a problem, that anointing of seeing the problem, we also believe equally that they also have the anointing to provide the solutions. Remember, most of the people have been shot and have been chased away because of simply pointing the problem, number one, in an accusatory manner, and then number two, just voicing the problem and failing to point out to the solutions. I have a rule. Every time when you bring a problem, I always ask, what do you suggest we should do? Sometimes when somebody suggests things that we done, sometimes I will say, I would suggest that you go out there and solve that problem the way you've recommended. Okay, by the way, that's the quickest way of eliminating complainers from your desk. Number 3, tip number 3 of raising a problem solving culture. We've said number 1, don't be an ostrich. Number 2, we've said see the ball, hit the ball. Number 3, tip number 3, very very important, is adopt a fixed problem behaviors. Okay, very important. We've said adopt what we call fix the problem. There is a very interesting proverb from the Japanese people. They say fix the problem, not brain. Okay, very very interesting. Fix the problem, don't brain. Now a lot of us don't want to fix the problem. Of course, we think that there's some people that should be solving the problem. Now how do you cultivate problem solving behaviors? Because a leader needs to have specific behaviors that encourages a problem solving culture. Remember, a culture is a set of what we do. It's the way we do things around here. So it has habits, it has the behaviors, the kind of way that we carry around within an organization. And every organization has a culture, the way they do things. Remember, a culture is a set of ongoing behaviors. And so some of the behaviors that we would recommend is, number 1, as the leader, have a behavior of going to the workplace, moving from your seat and going down there and asking the people, greeting the people and asking them, how are you doing? Number 2, ask them, how can I help you to do your work in a bigger and a better way? Because every time when you ask those questions, one of the things that is going to happen is that people will talk to you. People will be willing to engage you in a conversation. They will point out the problems, and don't stop there. Ask them, how do you think we can solve these problems? And people will talk to you. And always be ready to take notes. Take notes. Just take notes and listen to them, so that they will feel honored, and it will encourage them to come and talk to you. Now, number 2, stop direct and command style. Go out there, do their command and direct and command style is saying, go and do this, go and do this, go and do this in this problem, go and do this, go and do this. When people point out the problem, stop this direct and command style. Instead, reason, learn, and coach style. In other words, reason to what they are saying, understand the cause of the problem, then learn how the problem is affecting them and how long the problem has been. Then coach, ask them, and what do you suggest? What do you suggest? Then they will suggest some things. Some things might be unpopular, some things might be out of might not be within the rules and the policies of the organization. Coach them, tell them, okay, I believe you can do this, we can do this based on our rules and policies. I think we can do this and this, and then please get back to me. Okay, very very important. So adopt a fixed problem solving behavior, very very important. Number 4, tip number 4, when it comes to raising a problem solving culture, is teach problem solving skills. Teach problem solving skills. Okay, teach problem solving skills. Remember, we've said 4 ways of solving problem solving culture. Number 1, don't be an ostrich. Avoid ostrich mentality. Number 2, see the ball, hit the ball. Number 3, we've said fix the problem, not blame. And then number 4, we are saying teach about problem solving skills. And maybe you can look at that, the 5 primary steps of problem solving. In other words, it is very important for you to teach people how to solve problems. The only way, now listen to this, the only way an organization can grow is learning how to solve problems quickly and effectively. And once the staff is armed with those skills of problem solving, then as we said, profit margin will increase, labor turnover will reduce, and the company will last longer. Now, among those skills that every leader needs to teach to the staff is creativity. You need to teach people how to do things in a new way, in a fresh way. Number two, research, to go out there, do data correction. A very important, teach about communication. This is the ability to pass information to other people within the organization, whether it is up-down communication or down-up communication or horizontal communication in a simple, fast way. You need to break the bureaucracies. Information needs to flow quickly, effectively, and you need to maintain what we call an open door policy. Maintain an open door policy where anybody can tell you anything. People need to tell you bad news. Everybody needs to feel comfortable to tell you bad news. Let me tell you, as a leader, I've learned when people are afraid of telling me bad news, then it simply means that I don't have things will go wrong because I am not able to get bad news fast. Okay, so it is very important for you as a leader to learn how to get information quickly, especially the bad news. And part of why we are insisting on teaching problem solving skills, because as a leader, it will do this to you and to your followers. Number one, it's going to help you to raise leaders, not followers. Remember, for your organization to last longer, for you to be able to increase your market presence, for you to be able to increase your profit margin, for you to be able to reduce labor turnover, that means people leaving your organization, egos leaving, and you attracting bad workers, then it is when they are not able to solve problems. Number two, it gives teaching people a problem solving. It gives readiness for transition. Remember, no leader lasts forever. But once you teach leaders to solve problems, once you exit the stage, they'll solve problems and they shall not hold you. Have you realized that there are some organizations, once a leader goes, the organization goes with him? The reason behind this is because the leader did not teach people problem solving skills. Remember, Jesus Christ said, and I want to read that because it is very important in John. This is what John said in John 14 verse number 12, a very important verse. Let's read that. John 12 John 14 verse 12. In solemn truth I tell you, anyone believing in me shall do the same miracles I have done, and even greater ones, because I am going to go with the Father. I believe every leader should have this kind of a desire, that more greater things, wonderful things that are done once you exit. That your exit does not mean the end of miracles. Now look at Jesus' desire, that I desire that if once I leave, that you shall do greater things than I have done. I think this is a very important kind of an attitude. And so when we teach problem solving, one of the blessings that we have is that people are able to do greater things once we leave. It makes us ready for transition. Okay, very, very important. Number three, why we need to teach problem solving is that it simply raises the morale. Now, the presence of problems have a way of slowing down the hype and the vibe within the staff. And but once we solve problems, effectiveness, anointing, enthusiasm, kicks in. Now, if we go through the Bible, we see three instances where upon solving a problem, the vibe, the hype, the enthusiasm, the excitement went back. Came back. You remember in 2 Kings, when chapter 6, when somebody went and was cutting trees and the axe fell on the liver, and the shock and the dismay and the disappointment that that borrower had. He cried out and said it was a borrowed axe. You can imagine once Elisha was able to solve this problem, the excitement came back, sadness walked away. Number two, very important. If you look at Hannah in 1 Samuel chapter 1, well, Hannah was sad, she was barren. Penina was taunting her all over the place. When Hannah came into contact with the man of God, and the man of God said, "May it be done as you have prayed," we see Hannah was so excited. He says, "Son, thank you for being so kind to me." And we see she went, sat down, felt much better, and ate. This is the power of problem solving. People who have gone on a hunger strike, people whose appetite has disappeared, comes back when problems are solved. People are able to smile back. Okay, number three is when you remember when David and Goliath had actually taunted the Israelites for 40 days and 40 nights. But then comes a young man, a boy in this case. He says, "I'm gonna solve this problem." And once David killed Goliath, the Bible says when the Philistines saw that their hero is dead, they rose up, they ran away in fear. But then the same verse of chapter says, but when the Israelites saw that the hero is dead, they rose up, they chased the Philistines as far as Gath and Ekron, and the bodies were scattered all around the road. They must have covered about 15 kilometers chasing these people that they could not face for the last 40 days. You see, every time when we teach people to solve problems, the morale comes back. Is your organization dead? Is your church dead? Teach people problem solving. You see, the reason why charismatic preachers have a bigger following is because they teach problems. They say the Lord will do it. They would go out there and create the hype. This is your night of breakthrough, and people would always follow anybody who promises to solve their problem. But then again, you need to do it genuinely. If you can't solve the problems, if the service won't do that which you're telling them, please don't raise false hope. Okay? Now, teaching people problem solving is a resource to the members. A big resource is the greatest resource that you can give to the members. When you in this fast changing culture, it is very important that we put a resource into the people of solving problems, because once we give this resource, it's going to help them to have resilience, that is ability to stand up after challenges. Number two, it's going to help them to be responsible. They will not run away from problems. They are going to rise up and say, I am the one to solve these problems. Number three, it's going to help them to research. They are going to go out there and correct data. Okay, very, very important. Tip number 5 that will encourage a problem solving culture. By the way, if you're new here, please consider subscribing and liking and commenting and telling us where you're watching us from. Remember, this program is sponsored by Freshworld Computers. If you're looking for computers, laptop, desktops, live streaming gadgets, repairs of whatever kind of electronic gadgets, please talk to Freshworld Computers. 0722-399-091. They are located around along Tom Boyer Street, Imenti House. Dominion Plaza, opposite Imenti House, shop number 10C. Call them Freshworld Computers. We've got you. We are talking about tips. We talked about to create a culture of problem solving. Don't become an ostrich. See the ball, hit the ball, fix the problem, don't blame. Teach problem solving. And then number 5, very, very important, is lead by example. Read by example. Very, very important. Lead by example. Okay, now remember, just like children, even adults believe in what they see. People believe what they see, not what they hear. A role model then is then a person who serves an example, whose behavior, whose example, whose success can be imitated to and by others. You know, as a leader, we are the pacemakers. We set the tone, we set the pace, we create the atmosphere in which everyone operates. You know, when you say one thing and do the opposite, that is a sure definition of a hypocrite. Now we need to ask ourselves, why is it important to set the example or to become a role model? Number one, it is the it's the surest way of influencing others, because as we've said, human beings are creatures of habit and imitation. What they see is what they do, and they believe it's right. Okay, and so if we would want to end impunity in this country, the surest way is, as a leader, please stop impunity. The reason why there is toxic politics is because politicians practice, they insult each other, they abuse each other, they talk ill about each other, and so we think it is true because we are creatures of imitation. Number two, reason why role model is very important, it inspires. When you're trying to reach a new goal that you think it's hard, you look for somebody out there who have done it, and so they breathe into you possibility. You say, if they did it, I can also do it. And then number three, power of a role model is that they instruct you. A role model not only provide a roadmap, but they also share tested strategies and formulas that actually they used in their time, or they normally use to lead to success. And so when we follow a role model, we are able to get those time-tested, proven strategies that have worked for them, and once we implement to them, they work for us. No wonder Paul told Timothy, and what you have heard from me in the presence of many witnesses, pass it on. In other words, teach it to another. What you've seen me do, what you've seen in me working, please pass it on to other people. Tip number 6 of raising a problem-solving culture is this: teaching what we call encouraging autonomy. So let's recap quickly what we've learned so far. Number 1, avoid ostrich mentality. Number 2, see the ball, hit the ball. Number 3, fix the problem. Number 4, teach problem solving skills. Number 5, we've said lead by example. Then number 6, we are saying encourage culture of autonomy. In other words, avoid reading people, micro-managing people. Most leaders are afraid of losing control. We always want to be controlled. We don't want, because we are afraid that things might be on control. And sometimes we are looking, we micromanage people, and we want to tell them, before you do it, let me know why did you do it this way. And that kind of a culture actually is a sure recipe of raising mistrust and killing what we call motivation. We are saying, don't impose rules. As much as possible, don't impose rules. Let the people be free. Because one survey actually reported that 70% of workers leave a company because of this micromanagement. Now let us ask ourselves, how does autonomy look like? Because some people would ask me, but if you let people loose, is it not going to create a culture of autonomy. I believe in balancing. I believe in control, but also in autonomy. But the problem is that we are so strict with the rules that we fail to give people room, people to breathe. Now, a culture of autonomy looks like this: is when your employees are able to make their own decisions. It is when you allow employees to set their own schedules and workflows. Is when you allow team members to set their own goals and to stay accountable. Is when you allow people to work in from remote, from the comfort of their homes, if that is possible. Is when you encourage workers to pursue new skills and to pursue their own areas of interest. Is when you trust employees to do their best in a way that suits them. And again, is when you welcome feedback from everyone, and you do it without throwing shovels at them or hammers. We might be asking me, John, why is it important to allow autonomy? We'll say a few things. Number 7 things. When you grace a culture of autonomy, because culture of autonomy, actually the ripple effect is that it will create a culture of problem solving. Number 1, there is increased happiness. 12% of your workers are likely to report to their job, happy, because they have the freedom and autonomy in their work environment. It increases job satisfaction. Number 3, there is increased well-being. Employees don't get sick and don't run away from job because they are happy. Number 4, there is more engagement. People wants to work and they want to work longer. They even come to work on an off day. There is better decision making and there's improved customer relations. Part of why the workers throw tantrums at customers is simply because their work culture is not autonomous. There is better productivity, there is creativity, and people stick around. Okay, and just let me throw this out there. Does the Bible encourage autonomy? Think about it. Tip number 7, deal with failures with tact. Let's recap. It's very important to recap. How do you create a culture of problem solving? Don't become an ostrich. See the ball, hit the ball. Number 3, fix the problem. Have those behaviors that fix the problem. Teach about problem solving. Number 5, we've said lead by example. Number 6, we've said avoid, encourage autonomous culture, and then now learn how to handle failure. Handle failure with tact. Handle failure with tact. Very, very important to handle failure with tact. Okay, now very, very important for us to say that in the name of solving problems, some solutions will turn out to be more failure. I mean, some solutions will just become failure. They will not work out. Actually, they will put you into more big trouble. Now, in such situations, most of us would quit. Most of us would go and choke the person who recommended the solutions in anger. Sometimes that staff will be fired, and such things. Now remember, a problem-solving culture cannot create in a tense atmosphere like that. Okay, we need to give room for mistakes. Now, don't be like Saul, because Saul had such a kind of an attitude. You remember a time when him and his son Jonathan helped, more especially his son, helped to deliver his army from the Philistines. The problem is that he had tasted honey, something that was against his father's instructions. When his father learned that his son had tasted honey, he said he should be killed. Were it not for the sensitive and mature and more compassionate army, Saul would have killed his son. Thanks to him making just a small mistakes. Now, what are we saying? We are saying it is very important as a problem-solving leader for you to be able to cultivate a problem-solving culture. It is very important to give room for mistakes. It's very important for you to give room for failures. Now, expect other people to make mistakes. Don't be surprised when people make mistakes. Remember Romans 3 verse 23. Remember Romans 3 verse 23. It reads, because it is very important for us to be able to understand these things. What does Romans 3:23 read? It reads that yes, all have sinned, all have fallen short of God's glorious ideal. That word all, everybody have missed the mark. Everybody has fallen short. Mark those words. Everybody. So don't be surprised when people make mistakes. All have made mistakes. Number two, very important, learn from the mistakes. Instead of blaming, instead of firing people, ask yourself, what have I learned from these mistakes? Remember, mistakes are messages that you can never forget in life. Mistakes are messages that can never, you know, those lessons that you've learned from our mistakes, we never forget them, never. And then use your mistakes to improve. Okay? If you use 10 ways to solve a problem and it doesn't work, it simply means that there's the 11th way that you can use to solve that problem. Okay? And then finally, and not the least, I am very excited about this one, is prayerfulness. Let's recap. To create a culture of problem solving, we've said don't become an ostrich. See the ball, hit the ball. Number 3, fix the problem. Don't blame. Teach problem solving skills. Lead by example. And then we've said create a culture of autonomy. We've said handle failure well. And then finally, and very important, is prayerfulness. Prayerfulness. Please remember to subscribe to this channel, like and comment. Tell us where you're watching us from. This program is sponsored by Fresh World Computers. If you're looking for a computer, your laptop is broken down, you're looking for somebody to repair, at an affordable price and to give a professional end, why don't you talk to Fresh World Computers? They are located around Tomboya Street, in Menti House, Dominion Plaza opposite Menti House, door 10C. Call them. We say Fresh World Computers, we've got you. We are still running about problem solving, raising a problem solving culture, and today we want to learn the 8th tip, prayerfulness. Now why talk about prayerfulness? Now, no one have ever solved a problem without what we call praying. Prayer is very important, and one of the reasons why we need to be prayerful is because problem solving, prayer gives us solutions. It gives us power to solve problems. Okay, very, very important. We need to be solving problems. Now, if you look at Nehemiah, his work was filled with prayer. He did a lot of, when he was working, he prayed. His work was punctuated by prayer. He prayed 4 times. When he had the news about the work. Number 2, when he was about to give a reply to the king, he prayed. When he struggled with opposition, he prayed. When he was responding to crisis, this guy prayed. His prayer life was specific, it was direct, it was simple, it was short. And his prayer life was specific. He was never fake. He was direct. He directed his prayer to God. It was very simple. He was not wordy, and then he was short. he offered what we call under the breath prayers. Those short, sharp, short put kind of prayers. His prayer life was so successful. Through praying, he was able to attract favor. He had more resources for his project. The king gave him permission. He protected him, and he permitted him to leave his job to go and do the work. The enemy was frustrated. The job was completed faster. The people were willing to work together with enthusiasm, with excitement. And through prayer, he was able to discover God's will in his life. You see, every time when we engage ourselves in prayer, we are able to do good things. So, are you willing? Are you a pastor? Are you a CEO? Are you a husband? Are you a wife? Are you a manager and you want to create a problem-solving culture? These are the tips. Don't become an ostrich. Don't deny problems. Develop problem-solving of seeing the ball and hitting the ball. Fix the problem. Have fixing the problem kind of behaviors. Now teach problem-solving to your people. Become the example. Number 5, create an autonomous culture. Stop micromanaging. Now, handle failure with tact. Don't run away when you go through problems, okay? And then we've said the whole issue of prayerfulness. I want to believe that this broadcast has been a blessing to you. If it has, please remember to give us this a thumbs up. Please subscribe if you have not, and thank you very much. Remember, this is Marketplace Media, an online platform that engages, equips, and encourages believers to say inawezekana. Please consider contacting Marketplace Media for live streaming. You have an event, you have an ordination, you have a burial, you have a bash. By the way, you have a church service. Valentine is around the corner. Please consider us on 0706 566 555. Please talk to us, and we shall do wonderful work. This is Marketplace Media. We want to thank you because of watching. Please consider watching us. My name is John Kimani. Remember what you say here at Marketplace Media, inawezekana. Remember to respond to our question. Who are better problem solvers, women or men? Who are better problem solvers, men or women? Please let us know. We are live. Let us know. This is Marketplace Media, an online platform that engages, equips, and encourages believers to say inawezekana. Please consider subscribing to this channel, and may the Lord bless you. Asante sana.